Breaking news as we come on the air about the condition of former President Jimmy Carter. The Carter Center, the charity founded by the 39th president, announcing that Carter has entered home hospice care, opting to refuse further medical intervention after several brief hospital stays. At 98, Carter is the oldest ever living president. The current president, Joe Biden, paid a visit to Carter and his wife, Rosalind, at their home in Plains, Georgia, shortly after he was elected. Carter, who served one term as president, will likely be best remembered for his more than 4 decades as a former president and his charitable works like Habitat for Humanity and his efforts at peace across the globe, winning the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002. Carter defeated incumbent Gerald Ford in the race for the White House in 1976 on the heels of the Watergate scandal, but he lost his own re-election bid to Ronald Reagan in 1980 during the Iranian hostage crisis. Carter largely retreating from the public eye in recent years. ABC's Mary Alice Parks leads us off tonight from the White House.
Tonight, word that former President Jimmy Carter is with his family at home in Plains, Georgia, receiving end-of-life hospice care. The Carter Center in Atlanta saying that after a series of short hospital stays, Carter decided to receive hospice care instead of additional medical intervention. He has the full support of his family and his medical team. The center adding that his family is grateful for the concern shown by so many of his admirers. At 98 years old, Carter is the oldest living former U.S. president ever, serving one term from 1977 to 1981. A peanut farmer and naval engineer, he remains the only president from Georgia. Leaving office, he continued a life of public service, working with Habitat for Humanity for decades, building homes for those in need around the country and the world. He has battled serious health issues before, hip surgery in 2019, and in 2015, he confronted a cancer that had spread to his liver and brain.
Mary Alice Parks joining us from the White House. And Mary Alice, still a lot we don't know about former President Carter's condition, but you're getting some late word from his family tonight.
Yeah, with Carter's grandson also there in Georgia, tweeting tonight that he saw both his grandparents yesterday. He wrote, "They are at peace. And as always, their home is full of love. Thank you for your kind words." Whit.
All right, Mary Alice, thank you.
Former President Jimmy Carter, the longest-lived president in American history, is now receiving end-of-life care at his home in Georgia. Following several hospital visits, the Carter Center announced Saturday that at 98 years old, he's choosing to spend his final moments in hospice with family rather than seek out additional medical intervention.
They said his name was Jimmy Carter.
Carter was a little-known governor from Georgia when he launched his bid for president ahead of the 1976 election. Billing himself as an outsider, he went on to defeat then-President Gerald Ford in the wake of the Vietnam War and the Watergate scandal that drove Richard Nixon from office in 1974. As the 39th president, Carter negotiated the historic Camp David Accords, which brokered peace between Israel and Egypt. This agreement remains foundational in Middle East relations today. But Carter's presidency was also marked by double-digit inflation and the notorious 444-day hostage crisis in Iran, during which 52 Americans were held hostage. The events eroded his public support, and he later lost his re-election bid to Ronald Reagan in 1980. Despite this setback, Carter continued to make a significant impact on the world. He spent his post-presidency years working on causes such as building houses for the poor, election monitoring abroad, and combating guinea worm disease through public health campaigns that focus on improving access to safe drinking water in Africa. His work as a former president and through the Carter Center eventually earned him the Nobel Peace Prize, recreating his image in the eyes of many Americans.